Hey guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna. If you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. And today, I'm really sorry. I don't mean for this to be heavy, but I think that it might be. I mean for it to be inspirational. So I don't know how it's gonna come out. I haven't scripted it too much. So I hope that it just is genuinely what I intend for it to be. But today, I wanna talk with you about what a gift you are giving yourself and your families. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. It helps me an absolute ton while you are down there. Leave me a comment, or you can head on over to Instagram at Making Everyday Magic and shoot me a DM. Okay, so, and I will link this down below in the description box because I think it's important. I recently came across an article by the LA Times about homeschooling since all of this craziness started. So it actually had cited studies and percentages on parents and families who are homeschooling simply because of the P word that I'm not gonna say because I think YouTube doesn't like it. But people who have come to homeschooling out of that need or necessity, but who have chosen to stay. It is such an interesting article. It said that like African Americans choosing to homeschool went up 5-fold. The percentage I think was like 5% to like 11%. Read the article, okay? I'm gonna link it down below. It's really amazing. And then I saw a post, not by a homeschooling friend, but she was sharing kind of like a viral post, the post that went viral, and it was talking about how now with the new wave, you're having all of the stress and all of the things, all of the uncertainty, all of that. You're doing all of that all over again. But this time, you're white, right? Like this time you're exhausted. This time, you're pouring from an empty cup. And I think seeing both of these within the same 24-hour period really made me reflect on the gift that choosing to homeschool is to yourself, to your kids, and to your family. And as we are getting into February, we are coming around the bend. We're in the hard part of the homeschool year. If you haven't done this before, something about it's easier somehow after spring break to summer, you know what I mean? But we're in that like hard part now, and you're really into it, and the kids are starting to push back a little, and it's hard now. We're in the hard season of homeschooling in a homeschool year. And I think that it's a good time to articulate this, both to my future self and to you all out there, that what we are doing has provided ourselves, our kids, our families, with something that is so rare in the world right now. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. When this whole thing started, you know, at kind of the start, not the end of that school year, but the start of the next school year, you know, public schools were scrambling to figure out like, what is the new start to a year look like? Like, what is the new beginning knowledge of a 4th grader, for example, when they lost the last third of 3rd grade? Like, what is that? And so people were like stressing about who's behind and who's ahead. And it came out, you know, the model of no one's behind because everyone's behind, which isn't entirely true, because homeschoolers were able to maintain a consistency in at least their educational lives in a respect. So by choosing this life and by choosing this way of life, I just want to point out that there are places where you have given the gift of consistency to yourself and your families, to your children, most importantly. Children thrive on routine. And so the switch that some of these poor kids are doing with public school, virtual school, homeschool, back to public school, but then there's been an exposure in the classroom, so they're virtual school, but then they got sick, so there's 2 weeks out. Like, that uncertainty is a level that I can't fathom for myself. We've been very fortunate. I already worked from home. My husband has been working from home since March of 2020. Our only exposure, because we already homeschooled, our only exposure rates are the ones that we choose, our vacations, our dance classes. And so we don't have the burden of worrying, what my husband's coworkers' poor decisions are, or the burden of worrying about, the kid next to them in class running a fever. It's been so hard for people worldwide. It genuinely has been so hard for people worldwide, kids, adults, workers, everyone, to navigate these uncharted waters. And I want to remind you that while it's hard, while everyone's struggling, you have given a gift to yourself. There's that little peace of mind that you don't have to worry about, Timmy said Bobby was coughing a lot, or Timmy said he had a fever that morning. You don't have to worry about getting bombarded with the emails from the district about there's been an exposure. You don't have to worry about the fact of if your kid does spike a fever and then you go find out it's an ear infection, right? You don't have to worry about going and getting them tested for every little thing. This is kind of an interesting spot to be in, and I don't say this lightly when I say that as homeschooling families, we really have a luxury in many respects of the current situation of the world. And I know that homeschooling is hard, and I know that a lot of people don't choose it, and I know that some people chose it because they didn't feel like they had any other choice. And I know that some people have chosen to stay because it's a great way of life. And I know that some people will choose it for now and put it down later, and that's good and okay too. I just want to remind you that the decisions that you make, while they may not seem life-altering, in 20 years, we may find out that those kids who had that little ounce more consistency, maybe they're lower in anxiety disorders. Maybe, these little things will add up to big things later. And honestly, I would argue that they already do. Now, have our lives been affected as homeschoolers? Absolutely. Are there co-ops? Not as many. Are there homeschool days at things? No. Can we get out? No. But there's so much that just endlessly, day after day, we are not being bombarded with. And our kids are not suffering from the same gaps in their education that their counterparts are. Their counterparts are never going to recover that, 6 months of learning loss. It's going to be a real struggle, and someone's going to have to actively work to do that. And just maintaining the public school schedule isn't going to do that. We have been provided with such an amazing opportunity to do what was best for our families and for our kids. And we have given them by standing up, by taking on this role, by working hard and planning and stressing and doing all of these things that we've done as homeschooling parents. Our families, our kids, ourselves are going to be so much better for it because, like I said, it's the little things, right? Like not getting 3 emails a week about an exposure, not getting stressed about, is the teacher out? Is there a staffing shortage? And another thing that's happening here like crazy is the buses don't come. Sometimes they just don't come, right? So I don't know how people are navigating some of these things, especially as working parents, and the level of on pins and needles, right? And I hate to liken it to this, but do you remember back after 9/11, 2001, we had the little color chart, you know what I'm talking about? And they would just do this, and then at some point, I don't even know what happened to that. It was just meh, because you just kind of lose that intensity. And that's where we are now, right? You can't be a 10 all the time. You can't be a 10, and then they keep asking you to be a 12. We're so far into this. People are so burnt with this flips and the switches and the just level of catastrophe that it is being kind of put on us all the time, that I just want to remind you that the decisions you've made have given your family such a gift, such a rare gift, especially now in these times. And so again, I hope that this was motivational and not like downy, because I don't want to do that. I don't mean to do that. And I'm not saying that I disagree with any of the science or anybody speaking one way or the other. And that's not about this at all. All this is that the world is this way. And by making these decisions, we've been able to counteract, honestly, some of those norms and some of that kind of deadness of not being able to constantly live in that intensity of catastrophe. So you're doing a great job, okay? I'm doing a great job. And we are working hard to give ourselves the grace to just live this life and the consistency to ourselves and to our children so that their education can continue in an expectable manner, in a consistent manner, in a routine manner. So good job. Good job working hard for yourself, for your babies, for your families. Good job. And whether or not you've given this any thought, know that this will make a difference. And it does now. It certainly does now, and it will later. So don't doubt what you're doing. Don't doubt the gifts that you're giving, okay? Because they are going to be invaluable to the little humans that we are raising. Not having to live through the tidal waves of insanity of the rest of the world as far as education is concerned is going to be such a gift to your children in the long run, to your families, and absolutely to yourselves. Being able to provide everyone who you love with this tiny bit of stability is huge. It's absolutely huge. Guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me down in the comments. I will try to remember to link the study down below in the description box. Anything you want to share with me, guys, down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Again, I hope it wasn't heavy. I don't mean for it to be heavy, but there is a gravity. So I hope that the gravity came across without me being like a Debbie Downer, okay? So I hope so. I hope that you understood the intention of my heart and what I was saying. I hope so. I hope that came through. Guys, bye.